And I'm back.
Alrighty, good afternoon, folks, and welcome to the Smudcast number 931. Was 2D Zelda better? This is by Scamdrew. It was about almost 2K subs. This came out a few weeks ago in January. Has over 5,000 views. And we covered him before. We were talking about that before. And this was his supposed sequel to the previous video, which was Old Zelda Was Better.
Yeah,
And
that one focused mainly on 3D Zelda and how it compared to the current stuff with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, and he was pretty on point, showcasing how much better we had it before the big switch up to the modern stuff.
yeah, you could argue this is just a sequel, pretty much. It's the same arguments, but he's going to say, well, wait a second. Why is it better? Why is it worse? And he's going to look at all the games there. He listed a bunch on his contents there, the description. I'm assuming he's going to deal with the, what's the latest one? I think it's Echoes.
Echoes of Wisdom.
Echoes of Wisdom.
The 2D, yeah.
Yeah, we get to play as Zelda. So I'm like, all right, maybe we get the new stuff in there. Talk about why that's still relevant, because some people don't like the 2D stuff for whatever reason. It's fine because you didn't grow up with it, or all you know is 3D stuff, and that's your thing, and that's totally cool too. So
No, it means you're a filthy peasant without taste.
no, it just means you're young. You didn't know any better.
Yes, that's what I said.
Okay, you're young and you're a filthy peasant. Fair enough. All right, let's get going. Here we go.
Think about Zelda, my mind typically jumps to the 3D games, because that's what I grew up with. Now, the
Yep.
original games on the NES came out way before I did. And that doesn't mean that I don't absolutely love the 2D games, but like Nintendo, I tend to forget about them. Also, at the risk of copying this video, and this one, and these ones, I'm just gonna hold back a little bit on comparing the 2D Zeldas to the 3D Zeldas and kind of just talk about my thoughts on the 2D games after finally playing them. But after playing them, I can confidently say that I miss 2D Zelda. It has been 12 years since we've seen a fully new, original 2D game in the franchise.
Which one?
I'll get to it. Just give me a...
No, wait. Does he mean Link Between Worlds being original?
I'm not sure.
It's a remake.
It's
It's a remake that disguises itself as a sequel
Okay, yeah, I guess you're right.
with tinier dungeons, that's my main criticism of Link Between Worlds, that the dungeons are really, really, really tiny.
But are there
Really
enough?
tiny.
Are there enough of them that you can enjoy it and call it a Zelda game?
Well, yes, it's the same number of dungeons as in A Link to the Past. Because they're all in the same positions. Some places have been switched around, like the Ice Palace is where the where Turtle Rock was, and that is somewhere else, and so on. But overall, it's the same amount. And a good Zelda should have 8 dungeons. That's the minimum amount, 8. And that's why it's one of the reasons why people didn't like Wind Waker, said from everything else. Initially, it was just too short. It didn't have enough dungeons.
I mean, more than half of the 3D era didn't have the 8 dungeons.
Which what?
At least Majora's Mask and Skyward Sword didn't have 8 dungeons.
Majora's Mask, true. That's the one that standing out, I think, would even get a pass. And
But Wind Waker
It
as well
has-
didn't have exactly 8 dungeons.
yeah, that was the main criticism of Wind Waker.
Not
With
for me. But I'm just saying.
dude, I just being contrarian right now.
All right. Well, the latest
mind
one,
it.
the latest one was 2024. That was Echoes. The one I think he's referring to, not Link's Awakening remake. What is he referring to? Is it the A Link Between Worlds 3DS, or is it the Triforce Heroes on the 3DS?
Well,
Triforce Heroes was a mistake that shouldn't have been made.
Okay. But there was also Spirit Tracks on the DS, 2009. So I'm guessing.
That's Spirit
Well, that's
Tracks is
earlier.
the legs of Zelda.
Okay.
We don't talk about it.
All right. Four Swords is still okay, right? No?
I have to pass on that because that's the one I missed. I'm sorry.
All right.
It was in a pawn shop here 2 years ago, in pristine condition with the box and everything, and I couldn't afford it at the time.
The original Four Swords was bundled with A Link to the Past on GBA, and that one was mostly multiplayer. Four Swords Adventures on the GameCube was pretty alright.
All right. And these are all 2D games. We're not talking about the 3D ones at all. So.
Yes.
All right. Okay.
A second. And if we want to get real technical and exclude games that reuse worlds or assets, then the last 2D game was almost 20 years ago.
Correct.
That was unintentional. I'm just really sick right now. And if you're wondering, I'm
It's called
counting
being
any
old.
top-down Zelda as a 2D game, so just get over it. Now for the elephant
That's
in the
correct.
room.
That's
Echoes of
okay.
Wisdom is an incredible game. Like, pretty much everything about it is amazing. That being said, I think of this game kind of as its own, like, separate category. I love this game and what it does, but I think it's too different from pretty much all the other 2D games for me to treat it like one. I'm sure I'll...
No, it's a 2D game. I mean, yeah, it's 2.5D, I guess you want to argue the 3D engine, but it's the same style. So
Yeah, it's about the top-down view. That's why what we call 2D in that case.
you could argue the style of game, the gameplay is different because you're just summoning stuff and you're telekinetically moving things as Princess Zelda. But the game, the puzzles, like every part is a puzzle. Every enemy defeat can have an echo that you can summon. It is very different, but it's the same style of game. You're still going places, you're opening doors, you're using keys. Same concepts.
I have to say, though, I cannot talk on that game much because everything about it is spoilers to me. I have not bought it yet for, constraints. And because from what I heard, it was just I don't want Zelda to be the dungeon crawler hero.
Well, that's the thing.
She should just do something different than just going through the dungeon differently.
She's not a warrior. She has a wand that manipulates stuff.
Yeah. She should just not go through the dungeon herself. She should do something else, like build planning the dungeon.
Well, this is no different than, let's say, Mario getting a squirt gun, right? It's just another tool that he can use.
No,
We
because
literally
Link uses all the tools.
We literally have that. It's called Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It's just a different way of interacting with the world, the same way Luigi was interacting with the world in his story of having a vacuum cleaner. So it's...
Yes, but Zelda's not the main character.
It doesn't matter if it's the main character or not. It's just a new character.
Link is the one who gets all the tools and does weird stuff with it. That's the point of Link.
Yeah, Zelda gets one tool, and it does everything. So
That just means she should have a completely different genre of game.
it's not a different genre, though.
Yeah, this game isn't. That's my problem.
It's a Zelda game.
Yes, but it features Zelda in the role of Link.
No, you control Zelda. That's not the same. What are you talking about? What's the problem?
Link is the dungeon crawler. Zelda is not the dungeon crawler.
She's just walking around talking to people with her magic wand. Anyway.
That sounded strange.
I'll hear all about that in the comments, but just bear with me. It's a new game. I'm still figuring out how I feel about it. I miss so many things about the classic games, but what is it that makes them so special and has me going back after all these years? There's something about the art and vibe of these games. The simplicity and limitation of them creates these amazing worlds with missing details that you get to fill in with your imagination. These games were made with so many hardware limitations that Nintendo was forced to add extra detail to things so your eyes could even understand what's going on. This is also the reason why Mario has his overalls and mustache, because without these, he would look kind of bad and unrecognizable. This is the same with Link. Even from the start, Link with his green tunic wasn't made because green was an iconic color or anything. It was entirely because the NES could only support sprites with 3 colors. But without these limitations, these iconic things would never have come to be. Even things that didn't stick but are still iconic, like Link's pink hair or Zelda 2's side view of Link. But the sprites aren't the only thing that make these games look amazing. It's also the worlds themselves. Every single one captures that feeling of adventure so perfectly. Even replaying them, I still have that urgency and that want to save Hyrule, especially A Link to the Past. I'm probably going to keep talking about this one a lot.
Yeah, but where's that sense of urgency? Is it because of the art style? Is it because of the top-down perspective? Is it because of the iconic looking interactive objects on the screen? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what's the motivation for you to say that? Or what's the reasoning behind saying this is motivating you to pursue the plot? Like, that's kind of a weird thing. Like, do you want to? Ooh, there's a bush I've never hit with my sword yet. I really want to find out what's over there. That's more of a. I like the way the thing looks, and I like the way the color of the button looks. So I want to press the button. Like, that's the kind of mentality. Not that the story is somehow better written. I don't think there's much to it to argue that there's a sense of like a time, like, oh my God, we got 10 minutes before the bomb goes off. We have to hurry. Like, there's no sense of rushing, I don't think, in Zelda games.
No, the vibe of Zelda is simply the world itself. The world as the character. How does the world make you feel?
Yeah, the look of it.
A bit like Dark Souls, but in a not as horrible way.
I would say it's the art style in relation to how you interact with that as a player character. So you're like Zelda or Link or whatever, and there are things that you cannot interact with because you're not strong enough, you don't have the proper tool, and then you get the proper tool, and you have to, now there's like 30 different like bombable locations now that I have the bomb item. So that is like, it's like a puzzle you can solve, but you just don't have the means to do so yet. It's
if you want to be cheeky, you could call that a top-down Metroidvania.
In a way it is, yeah. Because the tools aren't available to you yet, but there's something interactive to play with.
Yeah, and by the end of the game, you just rush everywhere with Pegasus boots and flying birds.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Thing about this game makes it feel so alive in a way few games can manage. From the moment you step into Hyrule and it's pouring rain and the music is a little...
See, this is what I mean when we like games like Secret of Mana. Like, Secret of Mana takes the Zelda formula and says, okay, we're not going to do Nintendo style of adventure gaming, platforming, whatever. We're going to amp up the music. We're going to amp up the art, the animation. We're going to give you more control of the thing that you're doing, which is attacking or spell casting. We're going to give RPG elements to that, and then we're going to give you a plot of like trying to save the world. Whereas Zelda is pretty much a giant puzzle everywhere you go, and the pieces are scattered everywhere, and you have to go find them.
I just only now thought that A Link to the Past could have had a random weather variable. I don't think it would have done the game any detriment performance-wise.
You mean random? Like, just not... Like...
Yeah, just have it rain once in a while. Like in the intro section.
Ah, I see.
There might be patches for that, but I don't know for sure.
Creepy, and the color palette is made very obvious. It feels damp. It's desaturated with low contrast, using cool muted greens and gray blues to emit a feeling of worry and panic. And the rain effect is just so incredible with the lightning like flashing. But then when you come out of the castle and you now know your quest and you've overcome your first obstacle, things feel a little less scary and more inviting. The world is bright and colorful, and you have a map that is asking to be explored. Using color palettes to show the emotions of the scene isn't strictly something that happens in A Link to the Past, but I think it's done so well here, and is the first instance of Nintendo using this in a Zelda game. Also, if you were born after the year of 2005, then this might absolutely blow your mind. We used to get these like manual books with every game. Nowadays you just get the box and then there's a little like spot for it,
There's
but
nothing.
they don't put it in there for some reason. Why is it even there? Why is it there? Why take the hooks away? I don't understand. But these books had so many.
Sometimes they have some card with a code in it for something else or some advertisement stuff. Oh yeah, the manuals back in the day, they were amazing. They contained so much lore. I remember the manual for Homeworld was, I think 2/3 of it was just backstory. Lands of Lore 2 also was, I think, 20 stories story about the world in that booklet.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
we need that again.
Or I guess game developers really wanted to tell their story, and they wanted to jam the content of what you bought with whatever they thought was relevant. And
Yeah.
it wasn't just controls and this is this kind of attack and blah blah. No, it's like here's stories of all the characters and what you're trying to do and why.
Yeah, StarCraft, Diablo 1 and 2, they had tons of story and background info to the world and the cultures of for example, the Protoss in there. That was great. Fleshed everything out. Do that again, game developers, please.
Yeah, I remember the game cartridge was gold, just as a marketing tactic, but just to stand out because all the other games were all just the gray standard thing. They just wanted to make it look different. It's like, yeah, this is a special thing, guys. Zelda is a special game to us. Here's a gold cartridge. Like, okay.
I think the first colored cartridge I remember was for Donkey Kong Land for the Game Boy. That was yellow.
Cool.
That was before Pokemon.
Details in them. Your way home from buying the game, you would take it out and read through.
Oh, and Turok 2 on the N64 was black.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The entire thing. It was like this unspoken rule. But the best part to me was definitely the concept art. This artwork showed what they would have made the game look like with no limitations at all, but of course still based on the artwork made with said limitations. 3D games had this too, like Ocarina of Time, even Breath of the Wild, but it doesn't hit the same. These ones are still so close to the final product, but these ones were mind-blowing back then. And while you played the game, you would imagine it like this. Some of my favorites that look absolutely nothing like the games they're portraying are, of course, the original game, like this one, but also the ones from Link Awakening really hit for some reason. Like,
I guess you could argue if you remember the Nintendo Power magazines had little comics of Zelda sometimes. Like that was like, oh, like how much did you love the Nintendo back then? Well, there's cartoons about it, and there's stories in there. And they weren't stupid. They weren't like just cheesy little comical ones. They were dramatic.
Some of them didn't make any sense. The Mario comics never made any sense.
Oh, yeah, no, those were dumb. But this was, I remember some of those because they were so like profound and like why is this in the Zelda world? Why is there like a curse of a guy turning into a tree and he's forced to like, just be there the entire, like that was the whole, like, holy shit, that's how the story ends. You're like, whoa. And you're like, okay, that's kind of dark. So there's some pretty cool artwork and stories to go with the Zelda world. It wasn't always in the games because the games were always colorful and puzzle filled and just saving the princess sort of idea.
this one where he finds a seashell and is like, what the f is this? It looks nothing at all like the original, but it just feels so right. All of these details come together to make these games feel so alive. It's nothing technically impressive by today's standards, but it does something more special. It creates a world full of adventure, cozy villages, magical forests, and creepy dungeons. I've been struggling to talk about the atmosphere in these games without mentioning the music. The music in these games have had a huge impact on my life. The emotions that these songs bring out of me are unreal. The sense of fear, wonder, or satisfaction. Now the 3D games...
That's fine, but maybe you should listen to more music.
Well, Well, I mean, that's just the genius of Koji Kondo at work.
Oh
even
no,
back
I'm not.
then.
I'm not knocking any of the art of the musicians or artists on these
Yeah.
games. I'm just saying if it's influencing you that much, you should probably go to a like opera, go to live action. Sorry, go to real orchestral music, and they actually do have those game music done in live action or live orchestra, and then you can say, okay, now I understand how that would sound, how actual strings sound, how actual trumpets sound. Then you go, okay, fine, this is why it's good or why it's bad.
Yeah, get tickets for Madame Butterfly.
Do anything, yeah, at the concert.
Yeah, but that thing in particular. Other than that, I think I know where he's coming from. The 3D Zelda music a lot of it is absolutely iconic, especially about Ocarina of Time. The others, strangely, less so, even though they're similarly good. But with the top-down Zeldas, I think the level music is just more. It makes more of an impact because more of the game is abstract. When it's 3D over the shoulder, there is more immersion with it, and I think that allows the music to take maybe half a step back.
Well, I do like to look at the way that Chrono Trigger handled the design of the levels, the overworld design, the level itself, like going through it, and then enemies would pop up, and you can avoid them if you wanted. And the music was a huge part of that experience, even in Chrono Cross, and as weird as that game was. And you could argue, well, yeah, obviously Yasunori Mitsuda made a big impression on a lot of people, so he wanted to keep doing that in his style. So if you take that away, it no longer becomes Chrono Trigger. It becomes something else. Like, it feels very different if you play on mute. So it's almost as if the musician is half the experience like John Williams is half the experience of Star Wars. If you take out the music of John Williams, it's very like,
He's a third of the experience of Hollywood.
Sometimes, yeah, of the whole movie, epic, whatever you want to call epic.
John Williams is a good chunk of the experience in Home Alone.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's this Hollywood music is made by 3 people effectively.
And you could argue that because the music is timed to events in movies, the passive experience becomes heightened. In video games, you're doing a lot more in 3D than you are in 2D. Your controls are a lot more complicated. There's more buttons. There's more maneuvers. So unless you time the music to that, like for example with Metal Gear Solid 3, I would say, with the encounter music, and when you're fighting or you get into an encounter, they ramp up the volume in certain cases. And
There are just different phases of music, whether it's in the full alert phase, the caution phase, or just in straight up stealth.
And they combine that with zoom ins. So there's the action's moving, the visuals are moving, you're doing combat, and then the volume increases. So there's a lot going on in the interaction. So I think the feedback is key. So what is the feedback in a top down classic game? It's the ambience. It's going to the Save Santa in Secret of Mana. Like that's that weird, we're in the snow. It's freezing. And you hear the music going, that slow, like echoey kind of like, whoa, okay, I get it now.
That music is an absolute banger by not being a banger.
It's one instrument.
By just being so serene. You feel like lost in the snow. It's
like a flute with this weird sort of screechy, I don't know, stringed instrument, and it's just that's it.
It sounds like the frozen dewdrops on the trees are sparkling.
And there's a sense
that's what it sounds like.
There's this sense of nostalgia that you can't quite exactly explain with the story. Outside of people are missing Santa, and you're like, okay, we got to go help this guy.
Yeah.
But it's just like, what is this magical, weird feeling you get? Like, it's hard to describe.
If you only hear the music, it feels as if you stand in a field of snow and it reaches to the horizon.
It's the same
but
perspective.
it's not menacing. It's just it's a little bit melancholy,
Yeah.
but it's also serene and dreamy.
Yeah, plus you're fighting, your standard foes, and you're like, okay, I know what I'm doing, but it just feels so
the
different.
foes are horrible.
Yeah, at first.
The enemies in on the Christmas island, they are absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
They're mean.
Metroid. I would also bring up Metroid,
Yeah.
which places Metroid's music, which places more emphasis on the ambience and the environment more than anything else, and it still ends up being great music.
Yeah, no, Metroid is a great example of the. It's not music in the sense of like notes. It is ambient.
not in the traditional sense.
Yeah, it's environmental. It's very ambient. It's you're just feeling the setting with this sound that just matches so well. So exploration is the key to all of these games. Most games, in fact, are exploration. And when you match that with a very passive track where you're doing most of the inputs and outputs, you feel a lot more immersed in this experience, which is the kind of, not the opposite, but kind of a step above watching a movie where everything's exactly the way it should be per the director with the musician hitting those crescendos and those tom-toms and cymbal hits whenever action occurs.
I would, however, say that maybe this opinion is the product of Ocarina of Time just standing out so much with its music.
Oh, yeah,
it was
maybe.
the game with the most emphasis on music, even though lots of the Zelda games have some music function in them,
Yeah.
some mechanic.
The flute.
But Ocarina of Time, it's not just the songs with the ocarina. It is the dungeon music. It is the overworld music. It is everywhere is iconic and amazing. There's barely an exception. With Link's Awakening, the only thing that I truly remember is up in the mountains when you go to the I don't know what the English name is. The seventh dungeon.
The egg. Yeah.
Not the egg. When you go up to the Hawk's Tower or Eagle Tower.
Eagle's Tower.
Yeah, that is the banger music in Link's Awakening. Others I have trouble remembering. And with Link Between Worlds, the only thing I really remember is the one in the castle at the end, which is this where everything has built up to. That thing really hits. That is fun to listen to and go through the dungeon with. Everything else I completely forgot. There was nothing really that kept its hook in.
I remember we talked about Link's Awakening in the last video. That was so trippy a game. So anyway,
it was a trip. It's a dream.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's a dream. You are in the dream of a god.
Have probably had a bigger impact on me, seeing as those are the games that I have the earliest memories of. But without these early games, most of the iconic songs of the franchise wouldn't exist. The original Zelda introduces so many classics. The main theme is such an iconic song, working its way into pretty much every installment after. I will say, although it's iconic, while playing through it and hearing only this or this, I did start to go a little insane. Given the hardware though, this is still so impressive and left a huge impact on the series. Zelda 2 as well, with amazing songs such as the overworld theme, the town theme, but most of all, the song that brought us this amazing recreation in Super Smash Bros. Melee, the temple theme.
Is it specifically the Great Temple at the end? Yeah, I'll admit it's a banger.
But what really gets me about these early soundtracks is how confident they are. They're so bare bones, but they commit so hard to a specific feeling. The original dungeon theme isn't scary because it's using some fancy audio trick or effect. It's literally just a few notes repeating. These tracks had to do all of this with almost nothing, and that makes them hit so much harder. I keep saying hit so hard. It hits so hard. Why did I write that so many times? And of course, A Link to the Past comes in and just kicks down the door. The jump in sound quality is insane, but what matters more is how intentional everything becomes. Every area's theme is trying to tell you something. It makes you want to explore, but in a different way than before. This time in a more cautious and curious way, because everything in the Dark World feels wrong and different instead of new and whimsical. And the dungeon themes here, man.
Yeah, of course it does, because it's the main theme played backwards. In case you didn't know. That's why it sounds weird.
They're cold, lonely, and ancient. When I think of the atmosphere in 2D games, I think of these. They don't need to scare you, and they don't really. They did as a kid, but now I wasn't scared. But I swear, I wasn't scared. But they just need to make you feel like you're somewhere old and quiet and dangerous. Link's Awakening takes that idea and turns it into something more emotional. The whole soundtrack feels like it's floating. Simple melodies, warm tones, and then these tiny hints of sadness baked into everything. The Ballad of the Windfish is the obvious one. But honestly, even the village theme hits this weird nostalgic nerve. It's cheerful, but not in a loud, in-your-face way. It feels like childhood. Can you tell I love nostalgia? I'm sure everybody's gonna be so mean to me in the comments. Oh, it's just nostalgia. You just like nostalgia. Shut up. Shut up. I'm sorry. Thank you. Thank you for all the support on the last Zelda video. I appreciate it. Love you. Hit subscribe if you're not already. And then Tall Tall Heights is the opposite. That one ramps up the energy, but somehow still keeps that dreamy feeling the whole game has. What makes Link's Awakening special is how much the mood depends on the music. The Game Boy's screen is tiny and the environments are tiny, but the soundtrack fills in all the emotional space visuals can't. It makes the island feel significantly bigger than it actually is. You take the music away and suddenly the game feels more flat. And I mean that in the best way possible. The soundtrack is the soul of this game. Then the Minish Cap shows up, and oh my god, this game just kills it. This game is so underrated. If you haven't played this one, play it. It's so good. It's so incredible. The music is so ridiculously expressive for how small this cartridge is. Minish Woods is one of those songs that perfectly captures the vibe of what kind of adventure you're on. It's curious and magical. Hyrule Town's theme does an amazing thing where it makes the world feel alive even when there aren't that many NPCs around. And the Deepwood Shrines music makes you feel the humidity in the audio. It sounds wet. It feels like you're tiny and wandering through something ancient. What I love about all of these soundtracks is how different they are emotionally, but how they all aim for the same thing. They're trying to make a small world feel enormous. None of them have huge orchestras or choirs to back them up, but they make up for it with the personality and with melodies that stick in your head forever. One of the biggest things I noticed when playing the 2D games, especially the Oracle games, is how foundational these puzzles are. These games are where lots of the classic Zelda puzzles DNA really started to lock in. And I don't just mean block pushing or lighting torches. I mean the way these games force you to think. The Oracle games do this thing where every puzzle feels like.
And why did Link Between Worlds not have that? Because the puzzles there were lame, honestly. Way too straightforward. Maybe because it was just a homage to Link to the Past. I don't know.
Well, Minish Cap.
Yeah, these games felt more alive.
Yeah, Minish Cap, was that the one where he's 2D and flat and he has to shrink and
No,
then...
that's like
Yes.
it's just with the shrinking.
Oh, okay, because
The title is a pun, yes.
Okay, fair enough.
To diminish you.
It's teaching you language, not in like a hand-holding tutorial pop-up kind of way, but more like the game is introducing the idea, and then 3 hours later it expects you to remember that and then apply it. It feels fair, but it also feels smart, and that's exactly the kind of puzzle design that would become the entire identity of 3D Zelda games.
The irony is that the Oracle games and Minish Cap were made by Capcom.
Really?
Which is wild to think about now.
A first-party IP that they handed to a third party. That's amazing.
I mean, Smud, like half of Platinum's library is literally that. Are you really surprised?
That's cool.
Yeah.
Except we know how I feel about that. Oracle of Ages especially leans into this. The time travel mechanic turns every dungeon into kind of a two-layered maze. Not only do you have to think about how you'll get through the room, you also have to think about how do you get this room to exist in the right state so that going through it is even possible. It honestly uses the same part of your brain as something like the Water Temple or the Stone Tower Temple, where you need to change the area in order to progress. And Oracle of Ages did it with like 4 megabytes of storage. Oracle of Seasons approaches puzzles differently. It's less about time manipulation and more about environmental logic. On the surface, these feel simple, but that's the point. They're teaching the player that the world is a system. That's the kind of design you see all over Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, and especially Twilight Princess. I don't know why I said especially. It's just as much as the other ones. I just really like Twilight Princess. Modern Zelda often gets praised for its open-ended problem solving, but this older style is all about constraints.
Yeah, that backfired.
You can't brute force most of these puzzles. You can't accidentally solve them because you happen to pick up an item early. You solve them because you understand the logic of the game. That logic, that structure is a massive part of what made Zelda feel like Zelda throughout the entire pre-Breath of the Wild era. I didn't really end this section very well, so it's ending now. We're going on to the next one. Going back through the 2D games, you really start to notice how each one treats combat like its own little experiment. It really feels like each game was made by a different team with different ideas at a different moment in Nintendo's life. That is the case with some of them, and I think most of the time this is a good thing and adds positive innovation. Zelda 2 is the obvious outlier. People love to meme this game and shit on this game, but once you actually settle into it, the combat has this clean, almost arcade rhythm. It's all reads and spacing. Iron Knuckles aren't hard because they do a lot of damage. They do, but that's not the reason. They're hard because they basically force you to learn neutral in a Zelda game. It feels in a way like learning combat in newer, difficult games. No other Zelda pushed difficulty the way this one did. And then, here we go again. A Link to the Past. It doesn't try to be challenging. It just sets expectation and lets you figure it out and learn from it. The sword feels good to swing. The enemies have actual patterns, and the game gives you just enough feedback to keep you locked in without overthinking anything. It feels like this one actually really does feel like that blueprint that the series kept referencing for decades. This is Zelda. I really wrote that a lot too, didn't I? Zelda 2's precision, Link's Awakening's smoothness, and A Link to the Past's balance set up this thing all these games lean on, the items. I cannot stress enough how important.
I have a feeling that these are, well, yes, but it seems like these are just random words strung together.
Well, when he describes,
I don't see the logical build-up.
When he described the subject or the qualities of those games, you're like, yeah, but all the games are really well balanced. They're all really well thought out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my issue. I think he sees things stand out that don't actually do because they are good everywhere. I would need more in-depth explanation as to why the things are better in this game than in the other. Like the particular thing. Like why are the puzzles in that game better than the other? Please show comparisons. Because I don't get that vibe. This is not like comparing a Zelda game to Lufia.
No. Yeah.
That is puzzles.
I can kind of see the general point of, well, yeah, everything that came before Ocarina of Time is like it all culminated with that game. You can definitely make that argument, but it's like that's not what, at least that's not what I'm hearing.
I'm trying to think of like, how would you argue like, say, Phantom Hourglass is unique because it uses the DS, right? So it's like, okay, it has a very unique interface.
It is almost entirely played with the stylus, yes.
Yeah, like that would be a different experience compared to everything else.
And it is.
Yeah. So how would you describe A Link to the Past as being iconic and saying, well, it does everything? It's the one that started it off, I guess. In the Super Nintendo world, at least. And Zelda 2 was just an experiment. It was a side scroller. They did their own little thing with combat, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. And we never saw anything from it ever again. So
yeah, and I many Zelda games are experiments. In a way, most Nintendo in-house games are experiments. Then you have your mainline staple again for safety reasons, but it experiments a little bit. And then you have the big experiment again, and the last big experiment was Breath of the Wild, and Nintendo didn't learn anything from it. Instead, it doubled down on everything that was bad about it. That's a big problem. You could probably make another Zelda 2 with that's then just a Metroidvania.
Yeah. Well, that would be fun.
Would people want that?
I would be interested in how that would look. Yeah.
At this point, it can definitely work.
If they can reinvent, or not reinvent, but just do Metroid Dread and do it so well, then they could do the same thing with Zelda. The problem is Metroid.
Hell, literally just give it to Mercury Steam. They know what they're doing.
Oh no, I'm not saying you can't make a stylish looking, very tight game like a side-scrolling Zelda.
No, I mean, well, I bring it up because Mercury Steam were the ones that made Dread.
Oh yeah, I understand that, but Metroid is a side-scroller. It's always been a side-scroller until we had Prime. So with Zelda, it's always been top-down. It's always been the 2D idea.
Either top-down or the third person.
Now that the 3D is in, it's like, okay, yeah, I guess that is the new way of looking at 3D, or looking at Zelda with 3D lens. But even with the clips he showed of the puzzle solving in 3D, you're like, that's nothing special. There's nothing new.
Yeah, well, I think the thing about 2D Zeldas, there being less of them, is that the handheld is dying because it's this weird merger with the Switch.
I think people still want to play classic games even on the Switch.
Oh, sure. But you don't have a dedicated handheld that's just a small thing in your pocket that is child-sized. Nintendo, the Switch is not child-sized.
It is kind of big, yeah. When my cousins come over, it's like, oh my god, what is that? That's a game? Oh my god.
And no, the Switch Lite doesn't count either.
No.
No.
All right.
This was to Zelda, and how sad I am that it has been taken away from us. These older games don't treat items like features. The items make these games. Get the Rock's Feather? Cool, now you're basically playing a slightly different game. You get the Pegasus Boots, suddenly you're crossing screens in 2 seconds. Link's Awakening takes the idea and basically builds the whole game around it. The game is tiny, but the items stretch it in every direction. In these games, the world isn't built and then filled with items. The world is built around the items. A Link to the Past is the strongest example by far. Every item in that game has a footprint in the overworld. The hook shot isn't just used for...
Nah. The issue I have is with items that you basically only need once. The Somaria staff that you get in Turtle Rock is effectively only needed in that dungeon. And then you have this invulnerability shield thing that is in some cave with tons of spikes on the floor. Great. You effectively really only need that in there to get out, which you can do by using the invisibility cape that you also only need there effectively to get the invulnerability staff, which you are basically invulnerable with the magic cape anyway. So there are some useless things in the game.
Yeah,
which are fun to flesh it out when you're a child. Like, okay, they will help you because you suck when you're a kid.
The Cane of Birna. The Birna. The Cane of Birna was the other one.
Yeah, they had different names in German. I never bothered.
I was going to give the example of the candle and then just the fire staff, which is the same idea. Only fire staff is more of a weapon. There is redundancy.
You can shoot things with it, but overall they're just there. In the end, the bug net is more useful.
dungeons. It changes how you cut through entire regions. The flippers open up so many different areas you didn't even consider earlier. And when you put all of these games next to each other, you can see the pattern. Items aren't upgrades, they're perspective shifts. The world expands not because the map gets bigger necessarily, but because your understanding of it does. Damn, write that down.
No, it's an interactive world, that's all.
Yeah, it's just the Metroidvania aspect. That's all. New item, new paths. That's it.
That's the thing that the 2D games nailed, and it's why it feels so good to revisit. And the items are how the game teaches you to read them. The games are like a play, and the items are like the director teaching you how to act in the play. So after going back through all the 2D games, it's pretty clear why people still talk about them. Every part of them is built with intention. Combat, items, and the world's layout. None of it feels wasted, and even when each game does things differently, they're all chasing the same idea. Make a world that feels good to learn and understand. Thank you so much for watching. And if you liked the video, then hit subscribe and check out some of my other videos. I seriously appreciate all the support I've been getting lately. I cannot believe we just hit 1,000 subscribers.
All right, well,
congratulations.
Good stuff. Again, it feels like a fanboy video.
The previous video was much better. This one is a bit empty. It's just a bit of gushing and sorry.
I like the 2D games. Okay, great. The music
is not a horrible video, at least. He's on the right track.
It's like saying this Big Mac is delicious, and here's the part of the Big Mac I like the most, and this is where it came from back in the day, and you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Good enough.
Yeah, I'll admit there was at least a decent amount more that could have been said in terms of 2D Zelda, but not really wrong with the points he brought up. It's just you can word it better.
All right, we got a few memes here. I don't know what's going on.
I was expecting more.
Yeah. Yes, we talk about 2D Zelda, and the first damn thing is from 3D Zelda. Yeah, well, thanks.
Thanks for the 3D animated GIF there. That's fantastic. And now we have another animated GIF. This is kind of creepy.
Yeah. Now this is an old one.
Oh my god!
This is from like an old Japanese Nintendo commercial, I think.
You got a dirty magazine. Look at that. A copy of Play Rule, Hyrule Premier Gentleman's Magazine. The feature article is the Kakariko Cuckoo lady shows us her milk bottles. Oh my god!
I'm saving that.
Yeah, look at Link's face. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Then we have Wind Waker art.
Then we have one of the best characters in the entire series. Fight me.
She has weird hair.
I don't give a fuck.
All right. We got Kirby doing his... What the hell is Kirby doing?
Putting on his green hat. The sword power-up. Okay.
Okay. What are you doing, Kirby? You're eating something. All right. See what makes me tick. This is too big for me to read?
No, don't. You don't have to read it. It's just Wario had a great the Wario games had great instruction manuals written by himself. Like they were literally written by Wario.
Oh.
Or as if he wrote them.
Self-aggrandizing. There's not enough room for farts in his organs.
Yeah.
Where's his fart sack?
I'll give them that they wanted to be a... Damn, what's the word? I had the word and I lost it.
Fuck. I'm not sure what this is about. It's probably...
This is...
Suavemente.
Suavemente. Have you not seen the Suavemente memes?
No.
Suavemente.
A freaking joke made by a creator called Terminal Montage for his Zelda videos.
What is poor Wind Waker Link doing to this little creature?
What it deserves.
Okay.
Yeah.
She just wanted to blow stuff up.
I mean, that kind of happens later in the game, but yeah.
Uh-huh.
I think we're gonna have to kill this guy too. Like 2.
2?
Yep.
Carefully. A few final touches and oh, for fuck's sake, not again. Again, I made another absolute semen demon. Oh no.
There's no fucking way Aonuma will give this living on a hole the green light, and the mini is in 20 minutes.
We're late. Is that the fertility goddess? Are you really gonna show that smug? Why is she naked?
Shut up.
Oh, these poor designers.
Damn.
All right. Everyone enjoys Twilight Princess, I guess.
I mean, this is kind of important.
All right. I mean, if you like Twilight Princess.
Do I need to come back?
All right. Well, not as good as the first video. I admit that. Again, I thought this was just a fanboy talking about the thing he likes, which it sounded like what it was.
Yeah.
Don't let the instant success get to your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's room for improvement still.
Yeah. Focus on quality. Why is something good? Don't say I like it better than that. Just say this is good because. And you can do comparisons to games at the time. Like I think if he was really serious, he would have looked at other adventure games like that. I would have said Secret of Mana would have been the natural step because it came out on the Super Nintendo pretty much the same time. And comparable qualities, beautiful artwork, music, RPG mechanics were different, obviously, storylines, etc. But yes, go into detail. Don't just say I like it because I like there's good stuff in it. Like, okay. Anyway, that was not hard to go through. That was easy enough.
That was rather short. Do we do red next?
Nope. No. There's nothing to learn. There's nothing.
She got the most votes. She's a staple.
From what was written in the video, it seemed as if it was like a nothing video, so I don't want to touch it.
It's Red does a video about filler, while all she says is filler anyway. It'll be brilliant.
Oh
well, to be accurate, Red was the runner up on this poll, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow if we have time.
Runner up?
If not,
she got the most votes.
Stay indoors, keep warm. Votes. Don't go outside if you don't have to. It's kind of freezing out there. Yeah. But keep busy, work out, exercise, eat well, get lots of water.
Indeed.
Get lots of sleep. Take it easy. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.